Dinner for shoes, please. Hello, and welcome to a mini episode of Dinner for Shoes, a mini car episode where it's funny, I'm not even wearing shoes because who wears shoes in the car? But we are posting this. We're doing a little Ask Your Host. I was teasing an Ask Me Anything for a while. Some of you entered in questions, most of you did not. And I am going to answer some rapid fire questions. I am here with my producer today, Megan, and my sister Rachel is driving this vehicle. As you can see, I always wear a seatbelt. That's the first question. Do you wear a seatbelt in the car? Answer yes. And I wanted to just talk a little bit about who I am so you can get to know me, because I feel like we never had an episode really introducing me. I really thought that I should take a step back and talk a little bit about who I am. I will start by just saying what I'm wearing. Victoria's Secret Pink sent me these really comfortable sweatpants. They're like paisley print with this little crop top, and it's very comfortable. Rachel, eyes on the road. Rachel, eyes on the road. She just turned around to look to see what I'm wearing. I'm like...
Did you not look at her today at all?
I mean, honestly, fuck you, get me home. No, but we're driving from North Carolina in Charlotte to Charleston because Megan, our Dinner for Shoes producer, is marrying my sister Rachel, and they had an appointment at Indochino, which if you don't know, you will know because we're going to do a whole episode on it, but they're a custom suiting company. They started off just doing menswear, but they have ventured into women, and I actually had a suit made by them with a skirt. Really cool. And she custom designed her bridal suit yesterday. So now we're driving back to Charleston, which is where producer Megan and sister Rachel live. If you watch the sister episode, you know. And we're going to see my parents. Sister Rachel. She is so far from a nun. So far. And we're just killing some time, and we figured we would, cross this episode off the list. So we're going to get into it. I'm going to answer some of those Ask Me Anything questions, and producer Megan, who loves podcasts and is just very familiar with them, is going to ask me some of her own questions. Some of them will be fashion related. Some of them will be food related. I think since we went over my outfit and my lack of shoes, we should also just go over what I'm drinking today, which is Starbucks. I'm not one of those people. I used to be obsessed with Starbucks, and I did have a go-to order. So I guess this is another question I'm answering. But I lately have not been going to Starbucks. Boyfriend Nick, sister Rachel. Boyfriend Nick and I really like to check out little local coffee shops, and it's just like a new thing that we're doing and I'm doing. And I don't really drink Starbucks as much anymore. And so when I go to Starbucks, I like to see what's featured on the menu and just choose one of the featured menu items. And this is a blonde iced latte. I got it with oat milk and I got it with sugar-free vanilla syrup, but I really enjoy it. And I'm really excited by the fact that there's blonde espresso. I never knew that there could be blonde espresso, but if I would drink any type of espresso, of course it would be blonde. So it's great, and it's going to get me through this car ride, and it's going to get me through these Ask Me Anythings. Okay, so I'm going to pass the mic over to Megan. She's going to ask the question. We're going to get it back to me.
Tell me about your podcast for someone who doesn't know what you're about, and why did you start a podcast?
Dinner for Shoes is a podcast that is focused on fashion. Most of our conversations are about fashion. We shoot the shit. I forget what I'm talking about half the time. There are appearances by my cats, Trish and Kit, and we love to have guests on as well. It also is a review of local food in my area, Hoboken and Jersey City. I love food and I love fashion. They're my two favorite things in life besides sister Rachel and soon to be sister Megan. And I really wanted to, have a relaxed podcast. I think it's interesting that there are no really fashion video podcasts out there, and fashion is such a visual entity. So I wanted to, show my outfits that I'm talking about, show other people's outfits that I love, and have some really important conversations with industry leaders, and give a voice to some people who I feel like deserve a platform, and I enjoy doing it. I really didn't think I was going to. The reason why I started it was because I had some book ideas floating around. I, thought a lot about writing a book at some point, and I had an agent, and everyone just kept saying, you should really be a podcaster. Like, you have a good podcasting voice. Why not start it? So I was like, let's try it. Let's see if I like it and I enjoy it. If it stresses me out, if I don't have the time for it, I'm going to stop. And I really enjoyed it. And Megan and I have always wanted to do something together. Megan is an artist, and she's an incredible graphic designer and video editor, and I am a writer. And so we always were like, let's put our heads together and create something. And we had like a few different ideas throughout the years. One was branded by blondes. Like, we were going to do like branding for like, one was Hash My Bash. We can show all the logos because they're in the depths of, we literally got so far as like creating logos, like potentially creating like email aliases for these companies. And then this just happened to be the thing that stuck that we both enjoy. And I think like the most important part of it, and it's interesting because boyfriend Nick did say something to me. He's one of the people who, when I first started this podcast, as soon as he met me, he was like, you should be a podcaster. Like, you should be a personality, an internet personality, which just, speaks to the fact that he doesn't have social media because he has no idea who a podcaster or internet personality is. I'm like, so he can't really attest to what that is. But regardless, he was like, you should, put yourself out there. And he really encouraged me to do it. And I love him for that. But like, I don't know where I was going with this. I know what it was. I was going to say that when I first came up with the idea for Dinner for Shoes, I was like floating it by him, and it was going to be more of like a TikTok account. This is before Megan got involved, and it was going to just be like, I'm getting dressed to go to a restaurant, and I'm going to try out the restaurant, and we'll go to like all different restaurants in New York City, and I'm going to try it out, and I'll talk about how I plan my outfit to fit a vibe, knowing what the restaurant in New York City is like. And it was just going to be like a reel. I was like, you're going to learn how to make reels. I had no idea how to make reels at the time. And, you're just going to like put it all together, and it'll be a 1 minute, 30-second thing. And that's what Dinner for Shoes is going to be. And then what happened was like, I was like, well, what if it's more of a full-fledged podcast? And Megan got involved, and I was like, we can really do this. And now it's so much bigger than that. And while I still do sometimes, take my followers to fashion events or fashion shows because I'm at Fashion Week, or, just like previews or shopping, whatever it may be, it is more of a full-fledged podcast with these little series on the side. We have Sustainable Sundays. We have Shoe Thirsty, which is when we talk about like a shoe trend or a specific shoe that we love. And it's just growing, and we keep coming up with more and more ideas. So that's what it is. Long-winded answer for you.
Okay. So I'm just going to ask a couple questions that people responded to your story on Instagram. So Susan Wasilak.
Don't read everyone's name. It's literally just like my mom.
And it is, where does your positive energy and sense of humor come from?
She probably wants me to say her. I don't know, really, because it's funny, like, a lot of the time I'm really negative, but it's something about, like, when the record button goes on, like, it comes out of me. It is really my personality, but a lot of the time I think, like, throughout the day I get just stressed, and stress leads to my negative energy. So, but really, I am just a positive, happy person, and I don't know where it comes from, and I don't think it comes from her. That's not supposed to be a diss to her. I just don't think that like positive energy is inherited, but I could be wrong. All right, next question.
Okay, what is your favorite outfit that you've ever worn? Anything that comes to mind?
That's so hard. Oh, wow, that's a great question, Rach. That was a really good question. I mean, like a few come to mind that I've Instagrammed, so I'm trying to think of those. There was that one at Fashion Week that I really loved that I've just felt so comfortable in. It was a black wool suit with a cropped jacket and wool trousers and my Kate Spade, which it's funny, I just used them in an episode. We've never featured the Kate Spade combat boots, but it was those. I love them. They have a little pocket on the side. And everyone tells me that the pocket looks like I'm on house arrest. But they're just so cool and functional, those boots. And then I wore it. I borrowed some Chanel necklaces and belts from, I want to say it was the Real. They were vintage, and I wore them around the suit. I mixed metals, which is very weird for me. I normally always just go for gold, and my hair was kind of more brown at the time, and the suit was cropped, which is, I feel like, is a silhouette that works really well for my body type. I really liked that look, and I Instagrammed it. So that's just one I can think of. I don't know.
Okay. Let's do the Harry Potter cat question.
Oh, okay. The question is, what if your cats... Yeah, so basically this is crazy, but we just stayed in that hotel in Charlotte and it was a shit show. There was definitely a murder scene underneath my bed area. Yeah. Peep this or don't peep this, depending on your nausea levels. But it was a horrid hotel chosen by Sister Rachel. And actually, this morning, Rachel and I went down to the workout room. And Rachel, we didn't even talk about it, but never in my right mind did I think that woman would have stayed on the treadmill for as long as she did. I was just I gave Rachel the treadmill because the one treadmill of course didn't work, and then the other treadmill did work, but someone was on it, and I was like, this woman is hands down going to be off in 5 minutes, and she stayed on for a good hour. And so me and Rachel were just are we working out? Whatever. It was a disgusting, aged, like you said, just gross hotel, dated is the word, hotel. And so in the middle of the night, we woke up and we were just talking about our cats because we always miss our cats in the middle of the night when they're not in bed with us. Rachel and Megan have the Potter Paws, 3 cats that are named after Harry Potter characters, and I have Trish and Kit. And we were talking about who would play each of the cats in, if they were cast in a movie, what actor. And we'll flash some pictures or videos over the screen so that you can get a vibe of why I'm answering this way. But I've always said Trish would be Meryl Streep. Meryl Streep would play Trish, but I actually think last time we were talking about it and Rachel suggested Rebel Wilson, and I kind of can see that too. Specifically, I think, Rachel, you were saying her bridesmaid character, but Trish is really, really smart, and I think it would either be Meryl Streep or Rebel Wilson. I'm trying to think of one or two others that I would at least call in for auditions. I would call in all of these actors for auditions, and then I would cast them as Trish. For Kit, who did we say last night for Kit? Kate McKinnon for Kit. Kate McKinnon could absolutely play Kit. That would be a very, very good casting. I feel like I need to look at actors right now. I'm trying to think. I also, Lily Gladstone, who was just in that new movie, the Leonardo DiCaprio movie, I think could play Trish. She's a really good actress and she's really smart, I feel like her character was smart in that movie, and Trish is very smart. People underestimate how smart Trish is, I think. We have this whole language that we speak together, and she understands me and I understand her more than any human. So I don't know if that means I'm a cat or she's a human, but whatever. I'll think on this more, but I have always said Meryl Streep for Trish, and I've always said I really, really, really like Kate McKinnon for Kit because she's very active. She's very funny. She's hilarious, and she's all over the place.
Who is your style inspo?
that isn't it. Who's my style inspo? That's an interesting question. I have so many style icons, I would say, whose looks I love. Immediately who popped to mind is Miley, and maybe that's because, her new Pharrell video just came out, and I really think that she does such a great job at finding, well, it's actually her stylist, Bradley Kenneth, but working with him to find looks that showcase her aesthetic, that are archival. All of the looks she's been wearing recently, ever since her new album came out, have been like archival fashion pieces, designer pieces. I don't know where they were all sourced from, but they're incredible, and they're also so in line with her look. But I also think from like a day-to-day perspective, like something more wearable, because clearly I'm not like wearing archival fashion and dancing with my hair like up like that with a pink background like Miley every day. Street style wise, I feel like this is a typical answer, but I do think Hailey Bieber does street style really cool because it's relaxed, but there's also like really cool little details that she's kind of made her signature, like her hoops, or just like the way she wears her loafers and socks right now, I think is really cool. Who else has really good sense of style? Zendaya on the red carpet is standout to me. That's because like Law Roach styles her. But I just think like how bold she is really brilliant. Zoe Kravitz has really cool street style. I've always admired her street style. And I'm trying to think who else. I've always liked Sienna Miller. I've always thought that she's had really cool style. I like her red carpet and just like what she'll wear every day, whether it's to an event or, like out on the street when you see her photographed by the paparazzi. And those are all like style icons that are alive. But then I think Edie Sedgwick has always been my number one style icon, and she's not alive, but I really do love the 60s as a style reference. And I think that her looks are just iconic to me. Like, it goes beyond like Jackie Kennedy for me, like Carolyn Bessette, like some of like the standard typical style icons you'll hear people name. Edie Sedgwick has always been my number one. So love that.
All right. What is a fashion trend that you got on board with that you look back now and you're like, what the hell was I thinking?
Hands down, the first thing that comes to mind is bangs, but I know that's not really fashion, that's a beauty trend. But bangs, I just couldn't, like, it was bad. But as far as fashion trends go, what was I into wearing a lot? I remember in college, my freshman year of college, I was into wearing like knee socks, like thigh-high ribbed knee socks with disgusting raggedy combat boots over tights, and the tights would be like ripped. And I was like, this is like grungy New York, because I went to school in New York, and I was like, this is like downtown cool grungy New York. And when I look back now at those outfits and how I was always wearing those socks over the tights, not only am I just like switch up your style from day to day, but I'm just kind of like, there's no way that I washed those every time I like wore them. So from a hygienic perspective, like what the fuck was I thinking? What else was a bad fashion trend that I engaged in, Rach? We kind of talked about this during our episode a little, but I mean, I did also wear the striped tights, the pilgrim tights that Rachel like.
What about those long gloves that you wear with your bathing suit?
That was pretty recent. Well, I will say, like, that's like a great brand to talk about. Oceanus is a really cool brand, and they make incredible, like, almost like couture, like bespoke swimwear. And they created like a custom set for me, and I wore it on my birthday, for my birthday trip in Charleston at Folly Beach. And we took was that in Folly? Yeah, we all took a boat out, and it was like this bejeweled, we'll flash a picture, but like this bejeweled set, and they came with gloves, and the whole time Rachel was just like, are you serious? And I was like, I mean, I think I am serious, like I'm here and I'm wearing them, so I guess. Yeah, that was a trend that I think I mean, I do like the glove thing. However, I will say this, and like Rachel and Megan know, if I ever see someone who just got married and they wore like opera length gloves to their wedding, I feel very strongly that gloves are a trend. I think it's fine to wear them on a boat in Charleston for your birthday one year, but don't wear them for like an important event like your wedding, where you're going to be like, why was I doing the opera length glove things? They're very like it's like in the moment, it's timely, it's now, and then it's not in 2 years. So yeah.
When did you know you wanted to pursue fashion as a career path, and like what inspired you to do that?
I think I always liked fashion. My dad like will always tell this story, but before I went to preschool in the morning, I had all my Barbies lined up, and they were waking up from their slumber, and they were dressed in pajamas because that's what one slumbers in. And my dad, I wouldn't go to sleep at night until all the Barbies were in their pajamas. And then when I woke back up in the morning, I wouldn't go to school. I wouldn't go to preschool until all the Barbies were dressed in their outfits for the day. So my dad would have to like just be like, gotta help her do it, and he would like help me dress all the Barbies. I always loved fashion, and there's like never been a time where that wasn't like a hobby to me or something that I could think of that I didn't want to like participate in. I never just like wore whatever and didn't care about what I was wearing. I knew that I wanted to write as a career in fashion and be a fashion writer and fashion journalist. When this, I know for sure, I got to school, I went to NYU, and I was doing college fashionista, which at the time it was like if you were a trend writer, would go around and take pictures of people on your campus whose outfits you loved, and you would ask them about where they got their pieces, and you would just write up like an article about the person's outfit. You took a picture of them. And that's what made me like feel strongly that I could interview others and like put myself out there. And then I knew, I was like, I also like writing about clothes and what people are wearing. And I ended up having an internship. This was like the turning point at Cosmopolitan. It was in the fashion closet, and I was basically keeping track of samples, and I was sending them to and from like, celebrities who were calling them in or for their shoots or whatever it was, and picking them up from, PR companies and bringing them back to the Hearst building and all of that. And I, at that point, knew, I was like, I love fashion and I love being around the clothes. I love seeing them. I love touching them. But I want to be on my ass writing about them, not lugging them from shoot to set and, whatever, to the racks and styling them. I want to be writing about what they look like. And that was when I knew. I was like, your ass is tired. Sit down and write about it. I didn't want to, that's how I knew.
I love that. Well, do you have any advice for anyone who is interested in your field, specifically writing?
Yeah. I think so that's the thing. So many people want to write about fashion, I think. And I think as far as like, you wanting to stand out as a fashion writer, I think that the number one thing that stands out to me when I'm like editing someone's work that I've never read before is someone who has a good sense of spelling and grammar. So I think just educating yourself, typical like journalistic skills and knowing all of that, but then also like giving it a little bit of personality. And I always suggest looking within when you're writing about something, whether it's fucking like best cashmere sweaters or it's like about a trend that you love, like how to achieve the mob wife trend, or something more full-fledged. For example, I'm right now focusing on the future of shopping, so something like really big, broad, big picture like that. Look within and think to yourself before you start writing, what interests me about this topic? Why do I care that I'm writing this? And maybe just jot those things down and come back to them throughout the article. See if you can interweave any personal anecdotes or something like that. I just think that like you have to be passionate about what you're writing about. If you're not passionate about it and you're just doing it because you're like, I like fashion, I want to be a fashion writer, and you're just writing straight up sentences, like it's gonna shine through.
Okay, someone asked this question, how to get the look for less?
So This question was asked by my good friend Rachel, not my sister Rachel. Best friend Rachel, not sister Rachel. And I think this is such a good question, how to get the look for less. It's really, really challenging to do this, right? Because if you don't, I mean, we all shop fast fashion. It's kind of impossible not to. There are so many, like if your whole wardrobe was a vintage wardrobe or sourced from like a thrift store, like you wouldn't have all of the wardrobe essentials you needed, right? And getting the look for less often involves shopping fast fashion, which really sucks. The number one thing I suggest to do is when you do want a new sort of statement piece, see if you can find it vintage first, or see if you can find it from a label that the price point is sort of similar to what you were looking at, but maybe they're upfront about their sustainability, they produce in small batches, something along those lines. And that's if those things are important to you. Of course, if you want to get the look for less, it's very easy to do that by shopping a lot of sites that just reproduce the fashion trends that we're seeing right now. I also think that, and this is really cool, I enjoy doing this a lot, if you see a look that you like and you want to get it, you want to shop it, and you just don't know even where to start, where to find the pieces, drag the image into Google Images, and Google will populate items that look like the image. They'll populate similar images, but they'll also populate shopping recommendations as well. And I think that that's a really cool way to like look and see what's out there. So if it's like a pair of black trousers, you type in black trousers. I actually like to use Shop Style. They're a great shopping engine as well. I put that in and then they populate all different items of what you're searching for. If it's black trousers, for example, at all different price points, and you can sort by price point. So that's like a great way to do it. I think you look at the picture that you want to get, the look that you want to get, and then you break down each item. Do I own this? Do I own that? Well, here, I go to Shop Style and I type in, I want this item. I want a blue crop top. I want black trousers. And then you look at the ones that are in your price range and you do a little bit of research on the brand before you just click buy, and make sure that you feel good about where you're shopping from, both price wise and from like a sustainability perspective.
Rachel has another question. She said capsule wardrobe pieces.
Yeah, that's really hard. So like capsule wardrobe pieces, I think so many people, I actually recently interviewed Caitlin James. She was on our podcast and she talked about her capsule wardrobe pieces, and she likes white crew neck t-shirts. She likes light wash denim, both of which I love too. I think denim is, of course, a capsule wardrobe piece. Find your favorite pair of jeans. For me, it's Levi's. Buy at least 1 to 2 pairs that you can keep in rotation, right? I think she also mentioned a blazer. I do think having like a black blazer in whatever fit you like, whether you like it more fitted or you like it more oversized, is great to have just because it is a layer of sophistication. Have a great neutral coat, whether that's a trench coat, depending on where you live, right? If you live in LA, maybe you could get away with something a little bit more lightweight. But if it's winter and you live in New York, maybe you want something more like a teddy bear coat or a cocoon coat, something like a puffer. But have a go-to coat that's neutral, that is sophisticated enough that you could wear it to work, let's say, or wear it to an office setting. I think Caitlin said a pair of white sneakers. I do love a pair of white sneakers. And then she talked about having like a black flat and a black like little mini heel or slingback. I think anything like that is fine. Like have a black neutral shoe that's a little bit more dressed up, and then have a neutral color. You could have white, but I don't recommend it for people like me who are messy as shit and always like stepping in the wrong thing or being rough with like, their day to day. So I would get a neutral shoe and take good care of it. And, whether it's ivory or it's brown, or tan, I like that as well. And whether you prefer heels or flats is fine. I would also do a boot, whether you like a knee-high boot or an over-the-knee boot. Just have a go-to like black boot in your closet. And yeah, make sure you bring underwear. I do remember once I went to Disney World and I didn't pack any underwear, and that was the bane of my existence. So definitely make sure you have underwear in your capsule wardrobe.
Okay. Do you have anything else to say about fashion before we move on to like the food segment?
Well, Iris Apfel recently passed away, and she was an incredible style icon, and she had a very eccentric wardrobe. It was full of color, and she was in her hundreds and was still dressing to reflect her style. And I think the number one thing I always say about fashion is something that she said, and I'm not going to quote her properly. We can throw up the quote here, but like she basically was saying that fashion can be bought and style is inherent. And I completely agree with that. I think that's my number one mantra when it comes to fashion. Fashion trends, fashion, what's cool, what's not cool, millennial pink is cool right now. Now it's sage green, whatever. That is just fashion. That's just the way the trends cycle. Style is inherent. Style has to do with you just feeling confident and owning whatever you're wearing. And some people will say like style, you have to have it in you. You can also learn, even if style doesn't come naturally to you, you can learn. And I think the number one thing to do to find your own sense of style is to first start with pieces that make you feel good. Pieces that you feel good and confident in, they are reflecting your style. Even if you don't have that like connection on paper that you can see, like I'm in these like cool jogger sweatpants and I'm like, oh, I love these so much. I wonder why, but that's because it's reflecting my style in some way. I feel good in like a crop top that's showing off my abs with a sporty bottom that is loose and comfortable. And it does reflect my style and who I am and how I'm sporty, on many, many given days. I'm an athlete. So like that, it does reflect who I am. And I don't know, I think that's just, I love that quote that she said, fashion can be bought, style is inherent.
I love that. That's a good way to end it. So someone asked, moving on to food, do you cook more? Do you order in more? Or do you go out more?
I would say it's a balance. I think I always try to live my life in balance. I really do. I definitely make one meal a day at home for sure. I make like my lunch, my Happy Meal. Watch the Happy Meal and Outfit Wheel episode if you haven't. But whether it's that or something else, I always try to have one meal at home. I would say maybe on the weekends I'm having all my meals bought and out, but it's rare. And I do like to go out, but I would say my boyfriend and I probably order in 2 to 3 times a week. And we probably go out 1 to 2 times a week for dinner. So I think most of the time we're cooking at home. I would say we try to do that as much as possible. Yeah.
Okay. If you could eat one food for the rest of your life, one.
Oh, so it's like that.
Just one. Yes.
One food. Oh my God.
What would it be?
So that's really hard because like immediately my brain goes to like, you want to be healthy, right? You want it to be relatively healthy because if you're hungry, you can only eat one food for the rest of your life. You don't want to like it to be donuts, right? You would get sick of that. You would get headaches from all the sugar. So you want it to be somewhat healthy. My mind also immediately went to tuna fish. I love tuna. My favorite tuna fish. We would, but like I really like. So there are 2 completely different types of tuna fish that I love. One is at Cangiano's in Jersey City. They have 2 different types of tuna, but their classic tuna is my favorite. And then the tuna fish at Nana's Deli in Livingston, New Jersey, where I grew up, is like a completely different type of tuna fish where it's made with a lot of heavy relish and it's like a sweeter type, but it's so fucking good too. I love tuna. And that's like, that's not like my favorite meal ever though. Like I think I really do love penne vodka. I do. And like, anywhere I get it from, I just love it. And I also love Caesar salad. That's also not healthy for you, but I'm always getting like a chicken Caesar salad, Caesar. So those are some of my favorite go-tos.
So this is probably the last one with the food, but what is your death row meal? Okay. And it could be anything. It could be like a full spread. So
okay,
go off.
Death row meal, go off. Death row meal go off. All right. I'm starting the meal. ASMR. I guess I should not go into ASMR. All right. Sober shot coffee, starting with that. Like, I'm drinking a sober shot coffee with the foam on top. It's just the best. I'm gonna have a margarita somewhere in there too. I really like the margaritas. I love all margaritas, but I love the one from Disney World. Like, it's such a good, the bar in front of Tusker House in Animal Kingdom, the best margarita ever. I definitely, while I'm there, I'm gonna be picking up some of that Tusker House, the curry chicken from there. It's so good. I definitely would get some penne vodka in there. My sister did just mention Angeloni's in Caldwell, New Jersey. They have great penne vodka, but I did always like the penne vodka at Pizzetta in Livingston, New Jersey. I really like an al dente penne vodka, but I also like the spicy rigatoni with vodka sauce from Chickies in Jersey City. What else? My boyfriend and I love, I'm trying to think dessert wise what I would get. I definitely would do ice cream for dessert, probably from Haagen-Dazs, and I think I would get chocolate chip ice cream and coffee chip ice cream and do both. It's so funny talking about this just because death row would never get you all this stuff.
No.
It's just I'm just trying to picture someone knocking on my jail cell with here's your Haagen-Dazs chocolate chip. What else do I love? I also love, I'm trying to think my favorite restaurants ever. I mean, Angeloni's Thin Pizza is probably some of my favorite pizza. I love also the pizza at Joe's. I'm a Joe's fan in New York City. Oh, no, I'm John's. I like Joe's and John's, but Joe's has the slice and John's has the pies. And I don't know that I would want a full pie because I'd want so many other things. Also, we're eating right now. We stopped at a rest stop and I'm having peach Chobani yogurt because the blueberry, which is the flavor I would have normally picked, was outdated. It was expired. This one's March 9th, so I just made it in time to eat this peach yogurt. I'm not really a big peach yogurt fan, but we're also having cheesecake bread from dinner last night. We stole the bread. Cheesecake Factory, which we love.
Don't forget about
the butter, the pads of butter.
It's got crumbs on it.
So this is not your typical dinner for shoes meal, but it's a car for shoes meal. A car snack. A car snack for shoes. Car snack for shoes. Oh, this is horrible. I love Chobani. I do. I don't want that to be a reflection on Chobani.
Sponsor us.
Also, Chobani, Rachel noticed that the people in front of us are smoking weed. We support you. The Chobani in New York City, which I don't know if you knew this, but there's a Chobani, you can go make your own Chobani yogurt in New York City in Soho. It's sick. I love it. I would recommend it to anyone. All right, yeah. So I guess that's death row meal. Definitely a lot of Italian food involved in there. I love Greek food too. I might want to get some Greek food. What do we? Oh, Rich, we love the hummus and the hummus with meat. You don't eat that anymore, but the hummus with meat from Massage is so good. I don't think I would do steak on death row. I don't think I would. I think I'd go for the pizza and pastas. All right.
I literally just shoved bread into my mouth.
Well, Rachel, you choose it.
Yeah.
I have to think first of one. She's thinking. If you could visit any country specifically for the food, which country would you visit?
I know what I'm going to say. Greece, and I'm going to Greece. And I can't wait to do that episode and show you what I'm packing for Greece. But definitely Greece. I love Greek food. I love Mediterranean food. I'm going for the first time ever in June. I can't wait. There's also one bar left on the camera, so we might as well be done now. Thank you for stopping by this Ask Me Anything. We're trying to figure out what's it called, and it's probably going to be Chobani, Cheesecake Factory bread, and car bullshit.
Also get to know your host.
And get to know your host. All right. Thank you. Subscribe. We'll see you soon. It is. The pumpernickel bread from Cheesecake Factory, if you haven't had it, get it.